for example, method 1. Okay, and then I need to put in a semicolon at the end of my statement. Okay, so now I want to actually call this method from the main method of this main class. Okay, so now let me actually comment out these lines of code here because I don't want to execute these lines of code. Okay, and then I want to actually call this method from the main method. So I just need to refer to the name of my method, method 1. Okay, and then I need to put in a pair of round brackets after my method name. So as you can see here, it's now showing us an error. So let's actually hover over the error area and see what's the error. Cannot make a static reference to the non-static method 1 from the type main. So as you can see here, we cannot actually refer to this method. Why? Because this method is not static. Because we are calling this method from the main method of this class. Okay, so the pointer to this method is our main class. So in other words, if we actually put the static keyword here, now the error is gone. Okay, now we can actually call this method from the main method. Okay, so as you can see here, in order to call a method inside our main method, inside our main class, we need to make that specific method a static method, or in other words, a class method, so that we can actually refer to that method inside our main method. Okay, this main method is a static method. Okay, this means that this method is a class method. So we must actually make this method a class method in order to call this method from this main method. Okay, so this is very important. And another important point that I want to talk about is about this system.out.println. Okay, I actually told you that this is the Java's way in order to output some values to the console. But now that you know more about classes, objects, and methods, now you can understand what does this statement mean. So this system here is a class. Okay, so now if I actually hover my mouse pointer over this word here, as you can see, it says the system class contains several useful class fields and methods. Okay, and it cannot be instantiated. So now we know this system is a class. Okay, and as you know already, the dot operator here, as you can see, the dot operator can only be used to call methods and variables. So we know that out must be either a method or a variable. So this out is either a method or a variable. Okay, because we used this dot operator here, we just refer to the name of our class system dot. So this out must be a method or a variable. Okay, so how do we actually identify whether this out is a variable or a method? So out is not a method because of the fact that there are no parentheses after our word here, after this out here. As you can see, remember that whenever you call a method, you need to put a parenthesis after your method name. So there is no parenthesis after our word here, after this out. So this out here is not a method. So it must be a variable. Okay, so we know that out is a variable. So we must now ask ourselves, what kind of variable is it? There are two possibilities. It could be a static or an instance variable. Because out is being called with the system class name itself and not an instance of a class, an object, for example, then we know that out must be a static variable. Okay, so since only static variables can be called with just the class name itself, so this out here is a static variable. Okay, so now we know that out is a static variable belonging to the system class. Okay, now as you can see here, we've got this println method here because there are parentheses after this println here. This println is a method. Okay, this out is a static variable belonging to the class system. But now we can see that out must be an instance of a class. Why? Because it is invoking the method println. Okay, so this out here must be an instance of a class. So now, as you can see, if I hover my mouse pointer over on this word here, out, it says print stream java.lang.system.out. Okay, so this out here is an instance of the print stream class. Okay, that is inside the java.lang package. So as you can see here, it says the standard output stream. This stream is already open and ready to accept output data. Okay, typically this stream corresponds to display output or another output destination specified by the host environment or user. Okay, for simple standalone Java applications, a typical way to write a line of output data is system.out.println, and then inside the parentheses we put our data. Okay, so this out here is an instance of the print stream class. Why? Because we called this method on this out here. Okay, we can only call methods on our objects or our classes. So this out here is an instance of the print stream class, and inside the print stream class we have an instance method that we call on this out here. Okay, and that's how we can actually output some data to the console. So I think that's enough for this tutorial. If you have any questions, please post a discussion in the course, and thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.